Welcome back, subscribers, and welcome new viewers to a Pluto reading from this Pluto book from Jeffrey Wolf Green. And this is for all of you who have your natal Pluto in the 11th house or in Aquarius. And also, Pluto is going to be going into Aquarius, transiting Pluto on March 24th, 2023. And I am taping today is the 16th of March. So that also, if that sounds right for you, to listen just for the general, for in the world and what is possibly coming our way, we could gain some great insights as well. And any of you who might like a private reading from me and you'd like my list, send me an email. Or if you'd like to find out more about the availability of my newly released book, send me an email at thecreativewoman369@gmail.com. If you'd like a copy of what I'm about to read, send me an email as well. Okay. Let's get started, and I want to thank Ellie for enabling me to do this video for not just her, but all of you. Okay. Again, this is Pluto in the 11th house or Aquarius. The individuals who have Pluto in the 11th house or Aquarius have been learning to break free from crystallized and outmoded forms of self-definition as reflected through the composite effect of society, parents, friends, or anything else by which the individual was influenced in his or her early years. In effect, the evolutionary intent has been to shed the skins of the past. And again, I'm being called to say, not just for those of you individuals who have this specific placement in your natal wheel, but this is going to begin March 24th. Temporarily, we're going to be introduced on a worldwide scale for all of us to do that same thing. Again, to shed the skins of the past. And what else did I want to say? Oh, so on March 24th, if you don't already know, it will go into Aquarius, Pluto, from Capricorn, and will be in Aquarius for approximately 2.5 months. So through June 11th, 2023. Then it's going to retrograde back and into Capricorn for the rest of 2023, and then we will have Pluto back in Aquarius, I believe mid-January 2024, for most of the year in 2024, and then in the fall it will retrograde back one last time for approximately a month and a half. I believe that begins November of 2024, and then for the rest of the time, it will be in Aquarius, Pluto, for approximately 18 years. So, big deal for all of us. Okay. And also, I'm feeling the need to say that for those of you that are listening right now that also have this in your natal wheel, you will then just feel that doubly so, because you'll feel it in general in the world, and you will feel it personally for yourself as well. Okay. In general, there are 3 ways in which 11th house Pluto individuals respond to this evolutionary intent. Some of these individuals have been learning how to leave behind everything that consists of the past in this and other lifetimes. In trying to liberate themselves from the shackles of the past, they have learned who they essentially are beyond the cumulative influence of cultural associations, parental input, or anything that they have been taught to be or have been led to believe. And again, on the personal level, absolutely, but this is also for each and every one of us to different extents on this entire earth. As a result, these individuals have needed to reject any situation that arbitrarily defines them, that tells them who and what to be and how to act. So we're going to see a huge movement in the masses in general about that very sentence I just read. So it's not only you, individuals, with this in your natal placement. Again, this is a huge, huge deal. This is a huge revolution. The very, very core of our beings for each and every one of us. Again, on different levels, of course. By rebelling, they have learned to deflect any external agent that has tried to limit or define them in any way that did not naturally resonate to what they felt they were or were trying to become. And I just got to that if you that are listening, individuals, are called to share this reading, please do, again, because this is the more of us that become consciously aware of this transiting Pluto. Even though this is for natal Pluto, this has absolutely information in it for each and every one of us now, for the whole world going into this transiting Pluto in Aquarius. So please, please share this video far and wide. In this way, 11th house Pluto individuals have been learning how to remove themselves, to pull away from the mainstream of society, pulling away. Yes, absolutely. We are supposed to now, each of us individually, that's what Aquarius has everything to do with, is using our thought process independently, uniquely, and not just blindly going with the mainstream or the crowd. Absolutely not. So that's awesome. This is awesome. Huge awakening in this sense is what I'm seeing for all of us, and a huge leap forward from what we have been astrologically subjected to and incarcerated in. But no longer. We're breaking those shackles. This is the very, very beginning for all of us. They've been learning to resist becoming shackled. And I just used that word, and I did not read this before. So, conditioned or defined by the customs of society. In addition, they have been learning to view themselves outside the confines of time and space, and thereby have developed a sense of objectivity and detachment. It is as if they have learned to stand on the sidelines of human activity, viewing themselves and others from afar. Because of this, they are disconnected from the bondage of any forms of national or cultural identity. And again, we're going from Piscean age to Aquarius age. So that is another thing. From incarceration, Piscean age, secrets and fantasy and deceit and delusion, to truth, compassion, and humanitarian togetherness and true unconditional love. And coming together compassionately at forming a group, a unity, a unit of individual souls who independently and cooperatively assist each other in being who we truly are and expanding our power and then unifying that out into the world in the most positive way. As a result of this evolutionary response, these individuals have also learned to sever all attachments that prevent further growth or the freedom to explore new ways of discovering themselves. These individuals have developed the ability to pinpoint those elements within themselves that are no longer of any use to them. Good job, all of you. These elements can be emotional patterns, desires, ways of interpreting inner and outer reality, and ways of relating to themselves and to society. By focusing upon these outmoded elements, these individuals come to understand how each aspect of their personal identity influences and conditions the manifestation of every other aspect, and so the entire structure. To give a simple analogy, this process is like making a pie. We can entirely change the flavor of the pie by changing or eliminating some of the ingredients. In a similar way, these individuals have learned to observe themselves objectively in order to understand how and why they are the way they are, and to change or eliminate any ingredient or component that is preventing further growth. And again, this is individual and worldwide for all of us. Any area of life to which these individuals apply themselves will be closely examined in order to expose that which needs to be changed or eliminated. The actual areas of life to which these individuals apply themselves will be determined by their evolutionary and karmic requirements. These individuals have a natural, innovative capacity because of their inner need to explore new approaches that allow for ongoing personal discovery. And what I just got for some of you, if not definitely all of you who have this specific placement, is you are one of the leaders of the whole earth in this Pluto Aquarius age. Wow. And Aquarius age, because of this placement. So once you have mastered this, or as you're mastering this, you are also assisting each and every one of us to do the same thing. So thank you, all of you. These individuals have a natural, I already said that. It's not common for others to reject or feel threatened by their innovative approach, because innovation threatens the traditional ways of doing things. That is true. So that's true. So expect to be, what was the word? You will be a threat to any of the old ways of doing things, societal ways that must go now. So please, you just stand strong, because this is part of who you are and your purpose and what your personal work is in this life to do. When tradition is threatened, the sense of security is also threatened. In many cases, these innovations are ahead of their time and cannot be assimilated into the existing scheme of things. And I also need to say, too, that we're going to see, and you probably already know it, or if you don't, you will know soon. Those of you listening right now, whenever that is, this is a timeless reading, that we're going to see things collapse, the old establishment collapse that has been blocking all of us in certain ways of our personal development. And so those are going to fall away first before we can build and bring something new into fruition that is more beneficial for each and every one of us and the entire earth, all living creatures on this earth and beyond as well. The change is considered too radical too much of a departure from tradition. Even the very lifestyles of some 11th house Pluto individuals will threaten the mainstream of society, the mainstream of collective beliefs, laws, and customs. Again, this is a step-by-step process, and it will be a step-by-step process, and it will take place over a long period. Again, Pluto spends 18 years approximately in each sign, and this is no different. So it is a slow, yet intense, yet steady transformation for all of us and for you individually. Many who have needed to experiment through rebellion or rejection of the past will create new beliefs, customs, taboos, and norms. These are the individuals who have and will be classified by society. So you're going to be classified by society, if you haven't already, as bizarre, radical, revolutionary, or just different. And I know this as experientially, so I do understand. And way more names than that, I'm sure that each and every one of you can attest to. Some of these individuals will borrow from or align themselves with traditions from one culture and synthesize them with traditions from another culture. In so doing, they will apply them in a new way relative to their existing social or political context or environment. These are the people who live more or less on the fringes of society, seeking out friendships and others of like mind. Some will even attempt to create or establish new social groups within the existing society or culture, or in some way become involved with an established group of people that is also operating on the fringes of society. In extreme cases, some 11th house Pluto individuals in this group will drop out of the system or society altogether. They can become antisocial because they feel there is no meaningful role for them to play within society, or no way to integrate or establish their personal and social vision within the existing system. They are called radicals, hippies, outlaws, or subversives. In a few cases, some will turn vindictive and attempt to destroy or bring down the system in some way. The evolutionary necessity to learn lessons of objectivity, detachment, and the need to sever all attachments that prevent growth can occur through the experience of intense emotional, intellectual, spiritual, or physical shocks. And that is going to happen. That is Pluto at its core. But it's for each and every one of our best interest, wherever Pluto is in our personal charts. These blows can occur through close personal friendships, casual acquaintances, random meetings with others, or through the mainstream of society itself. Because Pluto in the 11th house or Aquarius can create very rigid and fixed ideas about how things should be, how the individual should be, how others should be, or how society should be. Others who perceive these ideas as too radical, limited, or unrealistic will deliver the necessary challenges and confrontations. The effect is to induce an objective awareness within the individual relative to his or her attachment to these ideas. The attachment is what prevents further growth. The necessary confrontations can lead to the adjustment or elimination of these ideas so that new patterns can develop. Yet, Because of the compulsive nature of Pluto and the need for emotional security linked with these ideas, the degree of resistance to the necessary changes can be quite profound and intense. And don't feel bad. You will do that. That is part of this whole process for you. And again, all of us on a certain level, to a certain extent. Don't beat yourselves up. This is where it's coming from. But now you, viewers who are listening, you now have heads up. And so you can't stop this process, but you certainly, by this conscious awareness, you can lessen the blows, and you at least know what's going on and know why. And by the end of this period for you, you will be more powerful, and the blockages for you will be cleared wherever this placement is in your natal wheel. So you won't ever have to do that ever again. And conscious awareness is essential for being able to put and work through this properly for good and not ever have to go through it again. If this resistance is maintained, the individual will be isolated by others. As the isolation intensifies, the individual will be forced to examine him or herself and why others will not deal with them anymore. Isolation can eventually lead to the objective awareness of what the individual is attached to and the reasons for it. The 11th house and Aquarian archetypes are very important for all of us because they offer the opportunity to revolutionize and transform ourselves, to leave the past behind in order to develop new ideas or ways of relating to ourselves. It allows us to experiment with new thoughts or desires that radically transform who we have been and who we are now. Through these archetypes, we form relationships to others of like mind, those who reflect our own orientation to life and society. In this way, we will not feel too weird because there are at least a few others who are pointed in the same direction as we are. The 11th house and Aquarian archetypes then allow us to understand or experience that which is different and unique about ourselves. We experience this differentness through individual contrast or comparison, and by forming social bonds with others of like mind, which leads to the formation of subgroups within society. So this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing and what all of us are supposed to be doing in this Aquarius age. And while Pluto will be assisting all of us to do this. This process occurs naturally to not only promote this awareness, but to also create an awareness in all of us of our connection or relationship to everyone else in an objective way. In this way, we objectively become aware of the individual and unique role that we are playing within our group, within our society, and within civilization as a whole. We become aware of how one part of the whole can influence or change the dynamics of the whole. This dynamic can be applied individually as well as to groups. Social change occurs when enough people of like mind bond together to enforce change within and relative to the outmoded structures of society. Even though these archetypes allow for growth opportunities individually and collectively, many individuals fear change and fear being or feeling different. And that is across the board, absolutely, just like he said, for all of us on some level. But that is also assisting us to work through that and dig to depths of who we truly are and bring that out anyway and move past that fear and be freed from that fear, that blockage. Okay. This is because of the prior evolutionary intent to throw off the past, to disengage from it. This detachment is projected or linked to the external world. External environment. For those who have rejected or rebelled against this inner need and feeling, the overwhelming need and compulsive desire to belong to a group of people will motivate them to the ends of the earth. In effect, this desire acts as emotional and psychological compensation to block or thwart the inner feeling of differentness and disengagement. These people attempt to align themselves with the prevailing social norms and laws of society. As long as everyone else is doing it, whatever it is, they will do it too in order to belong to the group. So you're going to go either way. So that's part of having Pluto in the 11th house. And even those of us that don't, that's still strong in all of us. That herd mentality and wanting to be liked and understood and cared about. But it's lopsided now. It's way lopsided, as I'm sure all of you know that are listening right now. Their individuality, their purpose, their values and beliefs are simple extensions of the norms of their peer group. Nevertheless, despite this compensation, these individuals still feel different. It is this feeling that to some extent promotes the necessary objectivity and detachment. No matter what the individual does, in order to feel normal, to belong, they will still feel different. So what Pluto's doing for each and every one of us is finding that security base and instilling that inside our own selves first, because we cannot find that in the outside world first, which we all, and I definitely try to do, but it comes inside. And I'm being drawn also to say, take a look at your nodes of the moon as well, because that is another program that is put in our subconscious at birth, which is each and every one of our personal work, individual personal work in this life. So Pluto, South Node, definitely, and Chiron, and all has to do, and your natal planets that are in aspect to Pluto and your nodes and Chiron, they all work together. So maybe some of you will be drawn to look in detail now, or some of the specifics I just told you. And if you'd like me to send you your natal wheel or your nodes of the moon, I do that free of charge. So, send me an email. And of course, all of your birth information, including your exact time, if at all possible. I can, because that's essential for the placement of the planets and the nodes of the moon. I can get half or part of your nodes if you don't have your time. So still contact me, because that's better than nothing. And anyway, okay, so for those of you that appeals to, let's see here. Let's see what time it is too. I need to make sure we're, okay, 29, we're good. No matter what the individual does, in order to feel normal, to belong, they will still feel different. This feeling will promote the typical Plutonian question. Why? Relative to the free will that we all have, these individuals have been learning to make choices of whether to pursue that which is different in themselves, regardless of where it may lead, or to deny or suppress that which is different regardless of the consequences. Some have taken a few tentative steps to break free, only to retract and try again. Others have taken quite a few steps and are finally underway towards pursuing and developing their socialized individuality in some way. Others remain completely locked into peer group control. The third segment of individuals with Pluto in the 11th house or Aquarius have reacted to the prior evolutionary impulse by rapidly defending the traditions of the past. And again, don't feel bad if you are one of those. These individuals have feared being different, of course, have feared experimentation, new visions, new models, and new ways of doing things. Instead of disengaging and detaching from the past, these people have manifested a fixated death grip upon the past, a totally Saturnian reaction. Maybe I just got some of you have your natal Saturn or even transiting Saturn, for some of you, in aspect to your natal Pluto, or vice versa. The first segment, or you might have Saturn in your first house. Okay, but you don't have to. It's just coming into my head. The first segment of people manifested a Uranian response to this prior evolutionary intent. The second segment of people manifested both Uranian and Saturnian responses. This last group is Saturnian, yet even people who respond in this way will feel different because they will sense that time is passing them by. So that all of you will absolutely feel like time is passing you by at some point in your life. And no doubt right now in this whole time that transiting Pluto is in Aquarius, and the closer it comes to aspecting your natal Pluto as well. Okay, just a second here. These people are social dinosaurs. Individual and collective life is always growing, always in a state of becoming, of evolving. It is exactly this obvious process that these people fear, because most any change, any departure from tradition is perceived as undermining or threatening the old order and stability of the way it used to be. And some of you could have Cancerian planets, major planets, in your natal wheel as well, because Cancer is the sign that is, and it's cardinal, which means it is the one that will hold on to, and it is the traditional. It holds on to traditions, all kinds. These individuals use the old order as, I'm not sure what this word is, Panacea, panacea, to correct the perceived ills of the moment and to project into the future the way that it should be. And the way is in quotes. Rather than allowing themselves to develop a new vision to apply to a changing world, they project an old, tired vision upon the future as the cure for the problems of today. This orientation reflects the fact that these individuals are inwardly suppressing, in a desperate way, the inner impulses to shed skins from their own prior lives and the patterns of identity association that are based on them. They too will form social bonds or friendships with others of like mind. As individuals and as a group, they can develop objectivity and detachment through the isolation of their subculture within the context of society. These individuals and the subgroup are different when compared to others who do not respond to their sociological ideas and identities. Differing or interacting combinations of these three distinct ways of responding to the 11th house or Aquarius archetypes give rise to all the possible subcultures within a society. In a negative expression of the 11th house or Aquarius archetype, one group or a combination of groups may attempt to influence, control, or eliminate another group for reasons of security and power. And we can definitely, that is what has been going on and is still currently going on today. So the old regime is trying to hang on, and all of those who have been in control of that during the Piscean age are desperately trying to hold on to that power and that control and that same way of life. And they're trying to get us, the mainstream, to do the same way in many different ways that are under the radar, that a lot of us, or hopefully we're becoming more and more aware, more of you are becoming more and more consciously aware of those ways, and you will be, because it's being brought out in the open, because it's not going to continue. But yet that's where we get. So that energy of the hold back energy, and then we have the energy that is ready to move forward, and those of us ready to move forward and excited about that. So you're going to get that push and pull, and that's where we get all the friction. That's where we get all the, lack of a better word, destruction. But the destruction is good. Well, the destruction is good of the old patterns. It has to happen. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. But it will be, if you don't see it good right now, it will be good in the long run for all of us, because our souls will be able to expand in every way, in a very positive way. But it's going to be tumultuous. It will be tumultuous because this is a slow process. Okay, so where was I? Let's see. This effort reflects the egocentric desire for separateness and can promote narrow-mindedness and attachment rather than objectivity and detachment. An individual can react to another person in the same way for the same reasons. Positively expressed, group and individual differences will be tolerated, accepted, and encouraged. The combinations of positive and negative reactions occur when the extreme fringe groups, whether ultra-liberal or ultra-conservative, are perceived to threaten the stability or security of the entire group. Clues found in the birth chart indicate which way an 11th house Pluto individual is likely to gravitate regarding group identification. If the weight of the whole chart suggests conformity and emphasis upon tradition, the individual will probably identify with the mainstream of society. So again, it's no one's fault. It is the way that each of us were made according to the energies coming to us when we were born will determine where we are on this spectrum of the trying to hold on to the old, or the other end of the spectrum being the individuals and breaking out and assisting others to break out. Okay. If the chart suggests nonconformity, the individual will likely identify with fringe groups. If the chart suggests heavy introversion, the individual will have few friends and no particular group association. He or she may possibly be a group of one. And I am willing to bet absolutely, because astrology is the fringes, even though it's, and this is why I started my channel, is to get the word out so it's commonplace, so it's not scary, and so it's seen as it is real. It is real. I should say, true ancient astrology. And when one is looking at one's natal wheel and the house placements and the nodes of the moon, that is what I consider true ancient astrology. And so all of you that are listening, you are, I would bet, on the fringes of that, of the unique individual. So on the Aquarius side, and again, you could be anywhere in that area on your path. Beginning, middle, end, it doesn't matter. You are all beautiful. You are all beautiful. And I'm so glad that you are here, and I hope this is helping you. Okay, so in addition, we also need to consider the evolutionary condition of the individual. Those in the herd state will belong to mainstream groups. But yes, some of us want to scream watching these mainstream groups. Those in the individuated state will belong to more independent-minded groups. Spiritual state individuals will associate with spiritual groups, linking evolutionary condition to the energy balance of the chart, like introverted, conformity, and so forth, will give a fairly good understanding of which subgroups within a society the individual will feel a kinship with. Some examples to illustrate this point would be an introverted spiritual person would probably withdraw from any group interaction, and introverted conformity type would be a silent follower of the mainstream peer group. An extroverted, individuated type may be a leader for a splinter group, and so forth. Pluto's sign will give us additional clues. For example, a person with Pluto in Virgo may feel intensely shy and intimidated by social groups. He or she may feel critical of the group they are connected with, and the group may be critical of him or her. This individual may succeed in finding another group that reflects his or her own ideas, and from the bunker of that group may hurl critical hand grenades at all other groups that are different. As an example, many people who belong to the punk rock group prevalent in society today have Pluto in Virgo. As a group and as individuals, they tend to react in the way described. And that's not all of us. Definitely, I have Virgo in Pluto, and again, it spans several years, many years of individuals, and so, but that is part of the younger generation of, the younger generation of Virgo Plutos. Let's use a case history. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to fast forward here because this is kind of long, and I want to make sure. Okay, I am going to have to stop right there. So, any of you who would like the complete video or the complete copy of this, send me an email and I will send you the whole copy. So there's a couple pages left. There's about 4 pages left, so to be read. So again, if you're interested, send me an email, thecreativewoman369@gmail.com. Okay, until next time.